contractors and roofers should be putting out longer content versus just trying to get out content every other day or whatever.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Contractor Success Academy. I'm excited about today's lesson because I'm here with a fellow marketer. Tim, thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Tim, you're the owner of Hook Agency, a company that works with small businesses. You work with a lot of construction companies as well, roofers. Your company, you guys specialize in web design and content marketing and SEO. So that's exciting because a lot of people struggle with that stuff. And today, specifically, we're going to talk about creating content that builds links, not just for the sake of building links, but for the purpose of generating traffic.
Exactly. And, you know, I called the talk, how to create content that gets you links, that get you traffic. And I get that might be a little confusing to some people, just the title of that. But that's good because it's also confusing to your competitors. So they don't know why they need to have content and they don't know why they need to have links. And so it's actually great that a lot of people don't understand this, but it is important for you to listen if you want to get higher in organic Google results. Awesome.
So this is not going to be a fight between me and Tim where we talk about paid versus SEO because
not at all. So Tim, super important.
Yeah. So Tim, I'm going to hand it over to you, my friend. Share your screen and let's get right into the presentation.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, so how to create content that gets you links, that gets you traffic. So we'll be talking about the basics of linking, why links matter, the top link-worthy content types. So we talk about creating link bait and why do people link to our stuff. Ranking is the easiest way to get, links back to content. You got to rank the content first. Paid promotion in various types. Next level methods. We'll even be sharing some crazy secrets in here. And lowest hanging fruit to start now. And other ways to get links, just for people that are not super used to the idea of getting links back to their website, we'll give you a bunch of easy ways to get links now. The basics of linking are that every link is like a vote for your website. So maybe some of you are already aware of this. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on why links matter. But this is basically, if you look at the history of search engines, in about 2003 or 4, Google came up and knocked out Yahoo. And, previously we had Alta Vista and we had Ask Jeeves, which is now ask.com. It's still around, by the way. It's kind of crazy. They actually use Google's ad network. I was looking at that recently. But these search engines, a lot of them were actually directories back in the day, and meaning the search engines previous didn't have a way of prioritizing where things should end up on their list except through human sorting. So it was a pretty big deal when Google took over and said, all right, links are figuring out which websites are linking to each other through the blue hyperlink text to another site. We're going to count that as a vote. And we're going to take these websites that have a lot more traffic. We're going to count their votes more. So some votes matter more than others. And we take the more powerful websites and those matter the absolute most. So we're talking about like entrepreneur.com, inc.com, Forbes.com. Those are some pretty strong links. If they link to your website, it's a pretty big vote.
I think Oprah's up there, Tim. I think Oprah, if you get a link back from Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah. And
it's like getting on her show.
Exactly. And we just got a link back to a client from like readersdigest.com. And we were all ecstatic. And we went, yes, we got a link from readersdigest.com. And those, to figure out what matters, what sites matter the most according to this, you can go to mozbar.com. It's a tool by the SEO software company Moz, M-O-Z. They have some other tools, but this is one that I like the most because it really quickly allows you to see the domain authority of a site, which is just kind of approximation of how powerful it is for these purposes. The absolute ideal is that you create content so good, so link worthy that you get links from other people on autopilot. That's the real dream, right? We're raking in our links. And I mean, this is not a impossible dream, because my website, hookagency.com, yesterday got 3 natural links from real bloggers, basically blogging about certain things and citing our website as a resource. So that was just yesterday. It's absolutely possible. I'd say for most of our clients, it ends up being a little bit more of an idyllic situation. It's hard to get there. It takes a while, but it is important. So how do you get people to link to your site? I mean, it sounds awesome, but what are the types of things that actually drive these links? And these are the things I've seen. And, we've seen it on our site, we've seen it on our client sites, but statistics. And I've worked on a couple of these. So it's not just having statistics, but it's figuring out what kind of statistics people are looking for and either curating or doing an original survey. So you could, for instance, in your industry, survey other people and then get those links or basically get a piece of content that's all about these survey statistics, like, roofing stats for 2020 or something like that, right? You have this post and it's got all these stats in it, and people are writing about roofing, and they essentially might then link back to your list of stats. But that's the hard thing is that it's an original survey. So you actually have to spend money on getting the data. And that's through things like Google surveys or something like that. Or if you have access to a big email list of the industry or something like that.
Yeah, I think Tim, you brought up roofing. I mean, I know we both work closely with a lot of roofers, and there's so many huge industry players, large publications that pump out so much content. Literally, if you sit down in front of a computer and you take an hour or two and you start looking for stats, you can find stats on insurance claims, on how people get screwed, how people don't have the right insurance. There's people going to jail all the time because they're not following safety protocols with OSHA and all this kind of stuff. I mean, there's so much good content and stats, like you said, you can kind of pull back and create nice content around, not only for search engines, but that can help you, or not help you, but help your customer in their kind of path to purchase. They're vetting a roofer. They're doing some searches. They find this good content, and it's helping them make more informed decisions. These are things that people are likely to share. Hey, I know my neighbors, we're having a conversation about roofing the other day. He's looking at things. I think he's got to read this article. So naturally you start getting social shares and, building links and things like that. Stats are awesome. Exactly.
And people love graphs. So you can actually take these stats from elsewhere and turn them into a pretty graph or like an infographic. I guess that's my next one, is strong visual infographics. Anything that really draws this data into something, a pie chart, and then those types of things. I've seen this a lot on our site. Is we did some graphs. It was other people's data, but then people are using that graph on their site and citing where they got it from. So that's powerful. A big, bold prediction or against the grain stand. So I linked to a article about, it was like 5 years ago now, but it was called Web Design is Dead. And I cared about it. It was just because I'm a web designer. That's my history. And, so I was kind of annoyed by it, but I linked to it and I responded to it. Right. So it's funny because I think we have
polarizing content gets reactions from people.
It's called the pointy point of view. And it's actually, are you in Canada?
Yes, I am.
So maybe, I'm just going to throw out an example. There's someone in U.S. politics who's got the pointy point of view down to a science. And you can disagree with people's politics and stuff like that, but a pointy point of view is actually taught in MBAs. So people are teaching this at like prestigious universities, which is just, you say something super spicy, people have to respond to it. And honestly, so point is that you get more attention on your cause just because you said something inflammatory, which is annoying that works on human brains, but it does. And it does work to get you links because people will respond. It also works on social, which is if you have the intestinal fortitude for it, if you say kind of spicy things that are pointy on social, people will respond to you. And I do this on LinkedIn, like on purpose, and people will respond to you. They algorithmically push up your thing. And
because of the engagement,
there's something powerful about this, like as an entrepreneur, to be thinking this way too, because there's an element of our like when you're growing up, you kind of want to avoid criticism, right? You're trying to avoid criticism. But like if you're an entrepreneur, it's very hard to avoid criticism. There's always going to be people criticizing you, unfortunately. Like
you're taught to conform to the norms and try to blend in and not stand out. Whereas what you're saying here is really, being polarizing, playing the extremes can benefit you. The whole, bad press is good press kind of thing that works.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, right? It's like, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But if you break my legs, I'm fucked. So no, seriously. So there's a certain extent to it, and you've kind of tease out that extent, but you can say things that people are going to disagree with, and it's actually good for the algorithm on social, because even if there's 5 people beneath in the comments mad at you, it algorithmically bumps your visibility up. And the same goes with this, a big against the grain stand in your content. And I'd say it's maybe 15% of the time you're trying to be spicy, not 80% of the time. But when you do that, people do link to you. I've done it, and it does work. A giant list. So seriously, you want this list to be huge. We're talking like 150 things or something. Basically, you look at what kind of lists already are out there. You Google the thing that you're considering targeting, and then you see what the biggest list is out there, and maybe 10x it or 5x it. So if somebody said 27 things, we have content on our site that's like, we saw something that was like 20 roofing name companies or something like that. And then we're just like, you know what, we're going to do more. Or, we did like 99 or 101 construction company names or something. It's just a big list. It took a while to put together, but big lists are more likely to get the link just because somebody spent a lot of time on this. So this is something I think people get a little bit confused by, because back 5 years ago, content was all about frequency. And I still think it's important to put out content on a somewhat regular basis, but more and more, I think contractors and roofers should be putting out longer content versus just trying to get out content every other day or whatever. So you want to have longer content in 2019, 2020 and beyond.
Publishing for the sake of publishing because you've committed to it. We got to get something out every week. Yeah. So we didn't think about it. Let's just slap 300 words into a post and hit publish. It's not going to do much for you. And
if you were going to spend that time putting together a piece of content, like I would say spend half of the time on the targeting up front before you put it out. Like, we believe that targeting is the only thing that's going to make your content rank on Google, for the organic stuff. So unless you're doing paid, and of course there are cases where you can put out a piece of content specifically for the purposes of paid. And if you have a distribution method that besides organic, that's great. But otherwise you need to spend time on that targeting a lot. And then we've got do a roundup. So we recently did this roundup for roofing leads. And I appreciate you responding to that or being part of that. And it is a seriously vetted opportunity. And we just did one for a roofing client too, where we did a roundup of top things to do after the hail hits, right? And we put all those tips out on their blog. There's 8 other roofers that responded, and we put them up there. The good part of that is that they might want to link back to that article saying, hey, we were featured in this expert roundup. And then also we just ask people to share it on social and stuff like that. It's powerful for getting social shares as well. And, I used to use this method when I played music. I would have every single friend I knew on my album just hey, you come play the harmonica. They're promotion. They're built-in promotion. Everyone's on the album. Let's go. The whole community. Well, I wasn't that good at promoting my music, but better at promoting our blog. But yeah, give away free stuff. I think that this is paired well with influencers and utilizing some other people in your industry that have a bunch of clout with your audience. And this doesn't have to be the big, we're not talking the fat Jewish here or these Kim Kardashian influencers. What I'm talking about is, hey, in your market, who are the people that people trust and respect? And what other websites own your audience's attention? And you can talk with those people. And I honestly think the best place to start for a lot of these roofing and construction businesses is people that they meet out at their industry meetups. Like we have around here, we have NARI, which is the remodeling, the remodeling one. We've got BATSI, which is basically like our lobbying arm for construction. We have these groups that people are part of, and that you see the same people there over and over and over again. And you talk with them, and there's just certain people that are very charismatic and well connected. And that's what I'm referring to when I say influence here, not in the bigger sense, in the broader, like the thing that way too many people in marketing hammer on. I'm talking about in your community, in your industry, finding those people that are charismatic and well connected and working with them. You can do giveaways on social, and you can kind of, get this natural fire going in your community. And bloggers, if there's bloggers in your industry, to try to talk with them and maybe get them to do a little feature on it as well. And then make the go-to resource. So I think that kind of speaks to some of these other ones that I was talking about. But the go-to resource just means if there's something out there on Google about it, you got to make something 3 times as awesome. And the wonderful SEO expert Brian Dean, who I follow all the time, calls it the skyscraper method. So if you're super new to content marketing, it's basically just taking the top 3 results, thinking about the intent of the person that's searching that, and actually combining information, rehashing, remixing. I'm not saying like copy paste, never copy and paste your content. That'll get you algorithmic penalty from Google, but essentially combining what's great about these different pieces of content. All right. So who is it for? Why do people link? Number 1, they link because it's ego driven. If they're a harmonica player, what's that?
The harmonica player. He was in the band, so he's going to share.
Exactly. And then second, professional writer. So this is something that I think it's probably a little next level, but here's the deal is if you provide resources that people are looking for while they're writing, I'll just give you guys an example. I don't think anyone's going to go outrank me really quick on this, but we have one about the amount of the ideal blog post length. We have a blog post about the ideal blog post length, and that gets cited by writers all the time because they're thinking about it when they're writing. So if you're providing resources for writers, and I know that's I'm a little meta, but the point is that if you're providing resources for writers, and stats is an example of that, then you're more likely to get featured in their article. And then lastly, someone looking for a commonly asked question answer. So just really looking for things that people are searching for. And I'll just give away a tool on that. There's a tool called Answer the Public, answerthepublic.com, and it will tell you based on data what people are searching on Google in question format, which is awesome. So then you can just write content for those questions that a lot of people are asking. All right. So you got to also promote your best content. So that's why you want to spend time on these big pillar pieces of content, because it also takes a lot of work to promote them, to get these links back to them, and to essentially, if you did 300-word blog posts every other day, why would you spend a lot of time promoting them?
Yeah. I think that's a huge mistake a lot of people make, Tim, right? I mean, again, you can't blame many of the contractors out there. This is necessarily their expertise, but they've heard or they've been told you need to produce content. And like you said, years ago, it was quantity, quantity, quantity. Here we're hearing loud and clear that it's quality, because quality is going to facilitate, when you go out of your way to promote the post, it's going to resonate with people, right? People will share it, they'll link to it, they'll engage with it, and it all kind of works that way.
Exactly. And now that we know that, now that we're starting to become more aware that the longer, more comprehensive content is going to do better, we have to both spend time on that targeting, like I mentioned, but then also the promotion. So to me, targeting and then promotion, these pieces are what a lot of companies are missing. So you're not targeting your content well enough, and it's really sad to write content that no one ever reads. I did a challenge one time. I'm not above all this. I did a challenge one time where I did 365 blog posts in a year. And it was fun. I had a great time. I learned a lot. I'm so happy I did it. But almost every single one of those blog posts has zero traffic. That's a lot of time wasted, man. That's a lot of time wasted. And so that targeting was the missing piece. I wasn't actually putting it towards something that people actually wanted to read. And that's, to be honest, man, that's why I'm in this career today, because I realize, and I still have friends that are trying to be rock stars, right? And I realized at a certain point, this is just going out into left field for a second, but hey, we're humanizing this piece.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Which was, I realized that there was a lot more people that wanted to play music than people that wanted to listen to all those people that wanted to play music. And I want to be in something, in a career where it's useful and it actually is a desired service. And yes, there's like all these people that do make a career out of music. But on the other hand, there's so many people that are just sitting around it's because they want, it's self-indulgent. You know what I mean? We want to play music and that kind of thing. But the same goes with content marketing. Just because you want to write about it doesn't mean somebody wants to read about it.
Yeah.
So using tools like Ahrefs, ahrefs.com, or SEMrush, SEMRUSH, as well as just Google's keyword planner tool, will allow you to find things that people actually are searching on Google and then try to rank for those things. We're also going to be talking about paid promotion of various types. And then this is like kind of a crazy next level one, which is like promoting to lists of journalists on Twitter. So Twitter for promotion, for the purposes of getting links, you can find lists of journalists. People curate different Twitter lists. You can find them, export the lists, and import as a CSV. And actually, I meant to say Twitter ads here. Excuse me. Import as a CSV in your Twitter ads to promote your PR-worthy content. So there's a lot of it's kind of a crazy. There's a lot of steps to this, but it's kind of a cool opportunity.
It's a hack.
Yeah, you can hack it. Yeah, this one's crazy. So I'm only going to spend a second on it. This is actually from Marty Weintraub of
Aim Clear. Yeah.
So his whole thing is then you take that and you can then promote to that list, which is kind of weird that this is possible. And I'll be honest, I was at a conference where he talked about this, and he was talking about like using this to influence like political policy and stuff like that, which is crazy to me and a little weird and scary. But I was like, damn, dude, this guy knows what he's talking about. So I wanted to share that with you guys because it is a cool way to do this. Most of us won't be spending a ton of time on this method, but it's definitely a next level one if you ever want to try it. And then this one I think is a lot more attainable, which is just promoting to journalists on LinkedIn or Facebook. So you can promote your content, and let's say you pair the methods. Like if you were doing a big statistics post or a graphs post, you could then promote it on LinkedIn by the job title, whether it's journalist or writer or SEO writer or whatever it happens to be, to get in front of these people so that they start using your resources as as something that is going to be useful to people while they're writing. And then Facebook, you can promote by interests like writing or journalism. And then also on Facebook, you can promote to employers as long as they have over a certain amount of people working for them. So you can't do this for small employers, but you can always, for bigger employers, promote to these organizations like BuzzFeed or New York Times, for instance. But what would you do now if you just want the lowest hanging fruit? Certainly creating original graphs from existing studies and data that are already done, doing huge resources and giant lists about topics writers write about. But any kind of big comprehensive post, like that's the takeaway on the content marketing side here, if nothing else, that you should be doing more big comprehensive posts and spending a lot of time on targeting those. And then doing an expert roundup and ask some folks to share it on social on their site.
Yeah, that's pretty much a kind of a built-in hack. I think one of my favorites, the idea of creating content where you're referencing or you're mentioning people that have influence or are established in your local, market.
Yeah.
And then after that, once it's published, naturally people like being talked about. So just a little nudge, hey, we mentioned you, we featured you, or whatever. It gets people sharing.
Yeah,
and you bring visibility. So, you're creating good content. Content, we always refer to content as like, employees. You publish a quality piece of content on your website. Guess what? That content doesn't sleep. It's online. It's there 24/7 working for you, right? Being indexed, ranking for key terms, and it's moving up and down the ranks. But it's awesome the impact that can have.
Absolutely. And I think also thinking about next levels of content, video content is an opportunity. We talk about the social aspect of these things, influencers in your industry, in your community, in your neighborhood, wherever it happens to be, finding who those people are and involving them in what you're doing. And an easy way to do that is video, because you're able to interview maybe another business owner you respect in the community, maybe a referral partner. And this is something that we've been doing as far as like for our roofing client that's in Elk River. We go to other places in his community and basically interview those businesses and their owners and say, these people are awesome. You know what I mean? We're grateful to be in a community that cares, and these are some awesome people in our community. And those people then share it far and wide. So video and involving other business owners, and in particular for sales, involving other referral partners, because it's just also a reminder that you exist. So this is just on the intimate side, but in your community, how could you go and use video to interview these other business owners and remind them that you're a great referral and promote them to your audience and tell them about their great service and remind your audience that you care about great customer service. So video is definitely a part of content these days. We love video because you put video on a blog post and it automatically the time on site goes up a lot. And time on site is important for Google's algorithm and getting higher on Google's search results. But also, Google is great for just being out there on social. People just engage with it more just by switching to video on Facebook for a client. Besides all this awesome SEO stuff, they got 250% increase in engagement year over year organically just by having video. They also did some things on paid and stuff like that. But besides all the paid stuff, organically had 250% increase in engagement. So obviously people care about video. I think most of the audience that's watching will understand that kind of intuitively, but we love video.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like writing. I personally don't. It takes me a long time to go and crank out 3,000 words. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So if it doesn't sound right, I'm constantly hitting back, erase. So I have to use this app to like clear all the clutter from my screen to keep my mind clear. So I don't do a whole lot of writing, but video is a muscle that you can exercise. And basically the more you do, the more comfortable you get. And then, you can repurpose content. So if you have these articles, you can turn them into video. or you can create a video because you're more comfortable doing that, or it's easier for you. And then you can have somebody else turn those into nice polished articles.
Exactly.
And, publish those, upload them. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things that can be done there.
It's so powerful. And to be honest, we have clients that we do this for, that we're going and shooting video and then turning it into content and stuff like that. But you don't have to live around here, around Minneapolis, where we shoot video. There are video guys in every single city that you could tap on, find somebody that's economical. The guy's playing around with his drone. He loves it. You probably already have met him. They've probably already pitched you, but find somebody economical, find somebody that you can work with on a regular monthly basis and get these videos. You don't just want brand videos that are promoting you. You want content videos, which are actually making your ideal customer look smart by giving them, tutorials and things like that, as well as then, like you're saying, this is the best part about video, because then you can filter it down into blog articles. You can essentially, we call that pillar content. And then it just filters down into all these different, it filters down into articles, filters down into social posts. You get all these efficiencies. So if you can set your own little system up like that relies on the original content of video, and then you go out and shoot a half day with your video guy a month, pop out 4 to 8 like little tutorial videos, or this is what we do when hail damage hits, or even stuff for your sales process to make that go smoother. It's a powerful, there's a lot of efficiencies, and efficiencies are what every small business owner is looking for, because your time is just getting hammered on all sides.
Yeah. And one of the points that you just brought up, Tim, I like you're kind of referencing documenting there. You're doing things with your team. You're sitting around with your sales team or your service team. What do we do after a hail? So if anyone's familiar with Gary V, the big Gary V, he always talks about don't create, document. And that's really what it is. There's so many things that are happening on a day-to-day that you can create content around. So you don't need to sit there, scratch your head and say, okay, geez, what can we create that's new and original? And no, just document what you're doing. Get your customers on camera, get that footage of the drones, like you say, the B-roll, and start doing this stuff. And as you can tell, this stuff takes time. You do have to research, you got to invest the time, you got to create quality content, you got to pay attention to what's working, what's not, and kind of refine all this over time. So it's not the type of thing that you just, pay a firm to pop 300 words onto a blog post and forget about it. It doesn't yield results. And that's why I think the industry as a whole is kind of it sometimes gets a bad rap, and it's because things just don't get approached in that manner, unfortunately.
You're saying the marketing industry or the roofing industry?
I'm saying SEO, the SEO industry as a whole.
A lot of bad SEO out there. And I'll be honest, I don't want to contribute to the bad SEO. So here's the deal is people do need to take responsibility for their own business. Like, no matter who it is, even if you worked with us, I'd want you to take some responsibility and to really be part and like a partner on it, because I need a little, my firm, we have 10 people. 2.5 years ago, I was one person. We've gone from 1 to 10, super excited about it, but we have 10 people, and we need somebody that kind of is looking, is talking, is actually like involved in this stuff, because that makes it better. It's like no agency cares as much about your business as you do. Mm-hmm. So having some responsibility in there, and I'm not telling you to learn every single thing you possibly can about SEO and about Google ads and about drone video. What I'm saying is learn the basics so that you can keep accountability with your agency. I'm not telling you, like, you should trust them. Make sure you don't hire somebody that you don't trust, but get accountability, because accountability is good for everybody. Accountability, I want companies that care about their own marketing to be our clients, because there's an element of you're also going to do things. You know what I mean? Like, there's no agency that can do everything for you. Unfortunately, I know that there's a lot of agencies out there that claim to do that, but if you just sit them and let them do it for 3 years, it's going to be way off brand by the end of the 3 years, because They just don't care as much about your business as you do. So that's my personal take, is there should be accountability. You should care, and you should know the basics of what gets results in whatever it is. And like for us, for SEO in general, and this goes for any agency, it's content, links, and some technical changes in on-page SEO. So like, but content and links are the biggest effort that people should be spending their time on. And basically, you should understand those basics before you hire an agency, because people hire agencies all the time and they don't know what they're doing, and they just get an audit every month.
Yeah, they get pitched on the on-site stuff, and hey, we'll take a year and we'll roll out all these on-site changes for you.
Yeah, and they just tell them an audit, and it's just like, dude, they don't need any more audits. They need somebody to do the work. You know what I mean? They don't have somebody internally and we just got hired by a $30 million company that they have another SEO company currently working for them. And they just gave them all these like spreadsheets of suggestions, but they didn't do any of the suggestions. It's on WordPress. It's like it's super easy to do the things that they're suggesting, but they don't have a resource internally to sit there and do it all day. So it's better to have a company that doesn't just make suggestions. It's better to have a company that actually does the things that they're suggesting.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to get more links today, and it wasn't like, this is kind of some long-term stuff. I just wanted to go through some really quick stuff you could do. So what can you do to get more people to link to you easily? The first thing is local directory listings. So if you've never done this, you can do it on Yext or Moz Local or Fiverr. There's a ton of places to get these. But the key is that you need to make sure that the NAP is consistent, which is just name, address, and phone number. And we call this is the quantity of links. We need a lot of links out there. So maybe these aren't the most powerful links, but you do need some quantity. And it does help you get higher on Google Maps, because Google sees that name, address, and phone number with the business, all over the web. And so it's like, oh, this looks accurate, because algorithmically it sees all these different places where it's all the exact same. And that's down to like the period. So if you were like North Face Construction LLC or something like that, it should not say North Face Construction on one site and North Face Construction LLC on one site and NF Construction on another site. It should all be down to the exact, this is what the name is, because it's looking for consistency. The second thing would be press release distribution. So one example of a way to do this would be ReleaseWire or releasewire.com. You just write a press release that, I think you should do it. So it's like on a surge in the industry right now, you should write it about that surge in the industry. So it's actually somewhat newsworthy, and that positions your ideal customer as the hero of the story, not your company. Your company is just the guide. And that's a good rule of thumb across the board, is really positioning your ideal customer as the hero of the story.
I'm hearing some Donald brand, and you hear some some Donald Miller, some story brand.
Story brand. I am indoctrinated in Donald Miller. So
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, make sure that you're not always trying to be the hero of the story. People don't like that. And just the real quick synopsis on that is we all want to be the hero of our own story. And so when you make your company the hero of the story, that's like, we're the number one exterior renovations company in Boston, right? That's making you the hero. But an example would be smart. Example of making the ideal customer the hero is saying smart homeowners choose a 5-star exterior renovations company in Boston, right?
With a picture of Mary Smith and her testimonial, and
she's smiling.
All that kind of stuff.
She's saying I was the smart homeowner, and it's exactly. It's got a little testimonial, so it's social proof. She's smiling. It's all about her, though. It's not about your company. Yeah. And so that's just a really quick example. But the point is that people don't want to have to compete with you in their mind. So when you position your company as the guide, you're not competing against them as the hero of their story. They want to be the hero. Let them be. And then Inc. verified listing. So if you just Google that, it's basically inc.com will let you put a verified listing on their website. It's got a high domain authority.
That's like $40 a year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
I know we have one of those, about $40, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. $40 a year. It's
worth it.
High domain authority. And the whole point is that we need more high domain authority links. So this is a way to get it out there quickly. And then reach out to sites that own your ideal customer's attention and write for them. Now, Google will tell you that guest posting is no longer effective for search engine optimization. They put out a press release in 2011 saying they fixed that hole in their algorithm. Do you sense a little bit of distrust of Google's press releases? Yeah, because I don't believe they always say these things, but guest posting works really well still in 2019, 2020. So guest posting is just writing for other blogs.
There's a lot of shady ways to go about trying to get backlinks in the form of guest posting.
Yeah.
And there are natural, organic ways of doing it. You reach out to one of your local publishers who just covered a story on something about a certain, manufacturer who whatever had a defect in his products, and you've got a different angle or something else that you can apply or add or whatever. You reach out to the publisher, hey, we've got a story for you. We've got something. Can we help you? Can we contribute? Can we write?
Exactly.
There's a lot of ways you can do that.
Exactly. And just knowing that it is effective. Now, and that's why people are emailing you and spamming you and saying, let me get on your website, right? Because to be honest, it's really sad, but because our site has so much domain authority, I get about 5 to 7 of these a night. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, it's just a bunch of broken English that says, please let me, post on your site. Now, I'm not telling you to spam people. I'm telling you to be, like you said, just being friendly and being useful. And I think starting maybe with organizations that you're aware of, organizations you know of. This is another reason why sponsoring events and stuff like that in your community is good for you from a Google perspective too, because they link to you on their homepage or things like that. So we believe in sponsoring events, putting on events and things like that as well.
Or like you said, Tim, the idea of, once you're part of these organizations and networking groups, you make friends and you build relationships with people from the industry that aren't necessarily competitors. You can partner up at that level, interview them. You can write about them. You can get them to write about you. So it's, I've always said kind of the online world has to mimic to a certain degree the offline world, right? So that's what Google doesn't want. They don't want you to fake things to the point where it's just all sort of created specifically to give a search engine what they want. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be authentic. And so think about, it's like you're throwing a party. You want to invite a bunch of people. There's ways that you go about promoting that party, right? You'll go to see this guy because he's got a huge network of friends. So say, hey man, would you mind helping me out? I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get a certain number of people to my party. Yeah, sure, I'll help you out. It's like that. You got to reach out, make connections. And Tim, you guys did a great job. Like you said, we're featured one of your latest posts. Helps us, helps you. Relationships like this come about in that manner. And that's what people need to be thinking about. So it's not just technical SEO on page, fix your website because it's broken kind of SEO.
Yep. And I mean, that's what people will send you messages about. They'll, even clients that we've had for 2 years and have had helped triple their leads from organic search results, they'll still get these spam messages from people like, you have broken links. Let us fix your SEO. It's like, yeah, it's you'll still get spammed even when you start to do really good SEO. I mean, the whole point though is that you need more content. You need more links from other places. I don't know. Should I share a little bit about our company and what we do?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Go for it, Tim.
Okay. And you can cut this out if you want. But so Hook Agency helps people get higher on Google. And yes, we are somewhat aggressive about it. And we find all kinds of creative ways to get backlinks. We help people create content on their site on a regular basis. And we know what it takes to rank. We rank our, a ridiculous amount of traffic on our website every day. We get 4,000 page views, but we know how to get people more traffic. And recently we did a check on how many conversions our clients were getting from organic search results. And it was 126% compared to the previous year. So our effectiveness is pretty high. I myself have been in this for quite a while now. I've tested a lot of websites. I know it converts. I've done a lot of analytics and A/B testing. So we always kind of blend the two, which is making improvements to a website to make sure that it converts the people that come and helping them get more traffic on Google. So if for some reason you are looking for more organic traffic and more leads by improving your website, I'd love to chat with you. And particularly, we help a lot of construction companies and roofers. So if that's useful to you, send me a message at tim@hookagency.com. And otherwise, I love when small businesses and contractors, blue collar entrepreneurs push themselves to get better with this marketing stuff. Because like I said, no one cares more about your business than you. And I love working with companies where the person is aggressive and actually takes things into their own hands in certain ways to push. I just know most people don't have enough time for this stuff. So we save people time, and so they can spend time on other things in their business because they're training people, they're hiring people. Hopefully they're hiring a lot of people because of people like your and I's help, right? So yeah, we like to help people, but we also like to help people that have taken massive responsibility in their business and are pushing and are making moves.
Yeah, I second that, Tim. There's nothing more to add. I think, a lot of people, might have heard that SEO is great, organic's great because it's free. Sorry to break it to you guys. It takes a commitment. It takes time. It takes money. Maybe you need to hire professionals. So it's not the type of thing where you just, let me try and tackle this myself.
Well,
throw out some 300.
So I'll say one thing. If you're under $500,000, if your construction company is under $500,000, there are a ton of things that you can do yourself. And it is there to a certain extent. You probably need to invest something in it, but there are some things you can do for free. I just want to direct people to a resource, hookagency.com/SEO-basics. And I gave away the 3 things you should be doing for your business is SEO, if nothing else. And I really suggest this for anybody that's doing under $500,000 for their company. Just because maybe your time isn't worth more than your money right now. Maybe you actually do have some time to spend on this, and maybe it's on the weekend, man. Don't get too obsessed with work-life balance early in your business. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Because basically, if you have that time right now, I'm sorry, your time might be worth less than your money right now. If you're under $500,000, go do this stuff.
Awesome. Tim, thank you for taking the time to put this presentation together. I know that the Academy members are going to come out having learned something, a lot of good tidbits of information, and likely clears things up for a lot of people that had maybe a few misconceptions about organic search and links. So thank you for putting that together. Appreciate you being here with us today.
Appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Cheers.
See you guys.